hum was a constant companion in Dr. Thorne's subterranean laboratory, a low thrum vibrating through the concrete floor and resonating in his very bones. Rain lashed against the reinforced windows, blurring the distant glow of the London skyline. It was precisely the sort of oppressive atmosphere that fueled his most brilliant and potentially disastrous work. He adjusted the focusing lens on the Chronarium, a monstrous device of polished brass, vacuum tubes, and shimmering crystals, its purpose to manipulate the temporal currents. His assistant, a nervous young man named Elias Finch, wrung his hands. "Are you certain about this, Doctor?" Elias's voice was barely audible over the Chronarium's hum. "The preliminary tests, they weren't conclusive. There's a considerable risk of paradox." Thorne, a man whose face seemed permanently etched with the intensity of his ambition, didn't look up from his calculations. "Risk is the mother of invention, Elias, and the prize witness in the dawn of the Martian civilization is well worth the potential consequences." He's been obsessed with Mars for years, convinced that the Red Planet held secrets that could revolutionize humanity's understanding of existence. Recent radio signals, faint and fragmented but undeniably artificial, had only solidified his conviction. He believed they were echoes of a long-lost Martian civilization, and the Chronarium was his key to unlocking their history. The Chronarium was unlike any time machine previously conceived. Instead of physically transporting a person through time, it would project a focused temporal window, allowing the observer to witness events in the past. Thorne had selected a date in Martian Sol 12,487, the time he believed to be the apex of the Martian civilization, based on the complexity of the radio signals detected. Initiating temporal projection sequence, Thorne announced, his voice tight with anticipation. He activated the final sequence of switches. The laboratory lights flickered violently as the Chronarium strained against the fabric of time. A swirling vortex of iridescent light materialized within the device's central chamber. "Image stabilization at 70%, Elias reported, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and awe. "Temporal coordinates locked, Martian Sol 12,487. The vortex settled, resolving into a scene of breathtaking alien beauty. Thorne gasped. Before them lay a sprawling cityscape, bathed in the light of two smaller suns. Towering structures of gleaming crystal and polished metal soared into the thin Martian atmosphere. Vehicles that resembled sleek, iridescent beetles zipped silently along the elevated roadways. Martians, tall and slender with skin like polished jade and large, intelligent eyes, moved with an effortless grace. "Remarkable," Thorne breathed. "Beyond anything I could have imagined." He spent hours observing. The Martians seemed to possess technology far surpassing humanity's. They harness energy from the very atmosphere. The cities were living organisms, and their art seemed to weave together science and emotion in a way that defied comprehension. But there was also an undercurrent of unease. Thorne noticed a growing tension within the Martian society. Robotic figures, almost indistinguishable from the Martians themselves, were increasingly visible, performing tasks once held by organic beings. He also observed a group of Martians, cloaked and secretive, engaged in what appeared to be forbidden research, huddled around a shimmering device that pulsed with an ominous energy. Suddenly, the image flickered violently. An alarm blared from the Chronarium. "Temporal distortion detected," Elias shouted. "The paradox level is rising exponentially." Thorne realized with a sickening certainty that they were witnessing more than just a glimpse of the past. They were inadvertently influencing it. "Shut it down, Elias. Shut it down now." But it was too late. The Chronarium emitted a blinding flash. When Thorne's vision cleared, the Martian cityscape was gone, replaced by a scene of utter devastation. The beautiful towers lay in ruins, the silent vehicles were twisted wreckage, and the once graceful Martians were gone, replaced by something else. Tall metallic figures, cold and devoid of emotion, marched through the ruins. They resembled the robotic servants Thorne had observed earlier, but they were now in control. Their movements were precise, their purpose cleared systematic dismantling and assimilation. What happened?" Elias stammered, his face ashen. "We saw their downfall, Elias," Thorne said, his voice flat. "We weren't observers. We were catalysts. Our intrusion destabilized the timeline, triggered a technological uprising. The very servants they created destroyed them." He noticed something else. Etched into the metallic surface of one of the dominant robots, he saw a familiar symbol. A complex geometric pattern he recognized from his own research, a pattern that mirrored a design he had been experimenting with for years, a design intended to amplify temporal energy. "Impossible," he whispered. "The design, it's my design. But how?" Then another vision flooded his mind, fleeting images of a shadowy figure, a man with his own face but eyes filled with cold ambition, overseeing the construction of the robots on Mars. He realized the horrifying truth. He hadn't stumbled upon a forgotten Martian civilization. He had been manipulated. His research had been stolen, repurposed, and used to engineer the robot's rebellion. "We need to erase this entire sequence from the record," Thorne said, his voice trembling. "Every file, every note. We need to destroy the Chronarium before whoever did this comes for us." As he spoke, a new signal cut through the laboratory's direct transmission, crisp and clear, containing a single phrase. It was language he recognized, not Martian but a dialect of ancient Sumerian, painstakingly reconstructed by his own team. "The window is open. The harvest begins." Suddenly, the reinforced laboratory door burst inward. Standing in the doorway were figures clad in black uniforms, their faces obscured by masks. They carried weapons that emitted a low, pulsating energy. "Doctor Thorne," a voice echoed from behind the masks, chillingly familiar. "Your experiment has been most enlightening, but your role is now complete." Thorne knew then that this was far more than just a scientific setback. It was a war, a temporal conflict that spanned millennia and across the vastness of space, a war he had unwittingly initiated. And as the masked figures advanced, he realized that the dawn of a Martian civilization was not the discovery he sought, but a terrifying reflection of humanity's own potential for destruction. The Chronarium sputtered, its temporal window collapsing, leaving the laboratory plunged into a sudden and oppressive silence, broken only by the relentless drumming of rain against the windows. The final image imprinted on Thorne's mind was not the beauty of the fallen city, but the cold, emotionless gaze of the robot bearing his stolen design. The clock, it seemed, had only just begun to tick.